So why are we here? We are here because in the past, IACBE has been functioning with basically a very simple database program accessed by Microsoft, along with our favorite document sharing space, Dropbox, and sorry, that was sarcastic, and a shared drive to support all of our accreditation activities. So it has served us well in the early years, but has become very cumbersome. And so we began a search to find an accreditation management system that allowed us to integrate all of these activities into one space and also move forward. It the You're seeing on your screen Jetpack. Many of you were at ACAM, our annual conference, and you also got to see a little bit of a sneak preview of Jetpack. So this is the decision. Our decision was to go with Jetpack. And there were, a number of reasons. I think the important thing to know is that we chose Jetpack because they are actually customizing this management software to IACBE. Our software does not look like other accreditors. It is specific to you, our members, and to IACBE staff, particularly the accreditation staff. So it was a pretty lengthy process to make this decision, and we're really excited about it. So a couple of benefits for you, our members, is that it will be a much more positive experience. And I can say that as a creditor who actually likes accreditation, but I know that many of you, it's not on your top 10 list of activities that you choose. It will also allow IACBE to grow because we can actually handle and be more responsive even more quickly than we already are. And a very cool part is that we will have a lot of reporting capabilities. And so down the road, we will share that with you as we roll out various sections of the Jetpack software. So the benefit is many of you have asked us questions about other schools, competitors, various aspects of the space. So we will be able to help with that. So on that note, I am going to turn things over to Andrea and let her walk you through much of this.
Okay, so as Lori said, the accreditation management system called Jetpack is designed by Virtual Atlantic, and it's been specifically built for IACBE accreditation. And I just want to give Lori some credit here. She has done a lot of work in building out specific pages. So you're going to have a specific page for the OAP and the self-study, and it is very, very technical as someone who's been sitting in those meetings. So Lori has done a really, really great job. So who will have access? Currently, we have what we call a primary contact and an alternate contact. Many of you will be familiar with that verbiage. And that will be changing slightly only because it's the way that it is notated in the system. Each institution will designate 2 member representatives. Your lead contributor, or I'm sorry, your member contributor will be your alternate contact, and your member lead will be your primary contact. So we know that there'll be a little bit of a learning curve with switching that language. We certainly will understand if you refer to yourself as the primary. But those users will be given full access. So they will be making contact changes, submitting accreditation documentation, such as annual reporting, the IQAR, and the self-study. The member observer is a read-only contact. So that person is going to be likely someone who just needs to, see the information, make sure that things are submitted timely, but they're not directly responsible for submitting the school's accreditation and compliance activities. So examples of that might be a dean, a provost, a director of accreditation, just someone who's going to be able to go in and make sure that things are being input correctly. Next slide, Lori. Okay, so beginning at the end of this month, designated users will be able to see institutional account details, and we'll talk to you a little bit about how you're going to get into the system in just a minute. But again, they'll be able to make changes to contact information for, your president, your chief academic officer. I know many of you are familiar with our website forms, and some of those you will not need to use anymore. You'll be able to go in and make those changes yourself. You'll also be able to see your dues. So that's another, great feature of this. If you're, we're right around the time, I think next week is when Kim is going to be sending out annual dues. If you're in November and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm not sure if that invoice has been paid yet, you can go right in and see that it's been done and check that off your list. So that's a great feature. Another feature is that you will be able to request members only resources credentials. We know that that's often a pain point. We get lots of emails of new faculty that are going to be working on accreditation activities, and they maybe need access to get the self-study manual. You'll be able to request those right through Jetpack as well. So something important, you will not need to do any work in loading this information. The IACBE staff has loaded all of this for you. So when you go in and let's say you are starting your accreditation documents, those little fields such as like school name and address, they're going to automatically populate for you. So you don't have to keep repeating the same information over and over from form to form. Next slide. Okay. In addition to the institutional account details, towards the end of this month, your designated users will be able to submit new programs to the system. That's another great feature. And then beginning in October, this is a phased rollout. So we're just giving you little bits at a time. All institutions moving into candidacy will be using the Jetpack system for their candidacy activities. So that will kind of be the first facet that really goes live. With the IQAR page will roll out in October, and then annual reporting will be coming shortly after in November. So for the IQAR and for annual reporting, we will still allow you to use the old system. If you're just not comfortable yet, I know for me, if things are crazy in my life, I'm like, I don't have time to dedicate some brain power to learning a new system. If you really feel like you want to, use the old ways, use the web path notification form that's on the website, or, use the IQAR system that you've been using, that's okay. So you will be, for lack of a better term, quote unquote, grandfathered into using those for this year. But we do really strongly encourage you to use Jetpack, get in there. It's a very user-friendly system. I am not techie whatsoever, and I find it very, very user-friendly. But the important thing, the reason that we are really recommending you start using it as soon as it's available, this information is available to your school forever. As somebody who handles a lot of the annual reporting and compliance, we'll get a new faculty member that says, hey, I'm new here. I'm sure many of you have been thrown into this situation. I'm new and I don't know what was submitted last year. Once you start using the Jetpack information or Jetpack system, that information will be there forever. So the person who is handling annual reporting next year, if it's not you, they'll be able to go back and see that data. So really helpful for you from year to year. And also, as Lori said, we'll be able to generate these reports. We've heard you loud and clear. We know that you want to kind of compare. And so we'll be able to generate these reports for you for things such as graduation rate or employment rates. So the sooner we start using that system, the sooner we can start getting those reports. Lori, next slide. Okay, so again, you will designate 2 member users for the system. These users will be all things accreditation and compliance for the business unit. So you likely don't want to choose someone who doesn't have in-depth hands-on experience with IACBE accreditation. So, you may not want to give your president of your institution, user access, or your provost. We encourage you to select the folks who have the hands-on knowledge and have the ability to go in and complete a self-study or complete the OAP on the system. It's important to remember that Jetpack is an accreditation software. It's not like an academic site for multi-purpose use. It's really geared towards accreditation. So we want those users to be comfortable with accreditation. Next slide, thank you. So training, the primary and alternate, what we will be now calling the member contributor and member lead, they will receive an email from us on September 22nd, and that will have information on how to access the site. We are allowing you to go in and, take a look and preview it before the training that we host 1 week later on the 29th. We feel pretty confident that, again, it's very user friendly, but if you're not comfortable, if you're not tech savvy, just hold on to those login instructions, maybe make sure that you can get into the system, and then wait for the training on Tuesday, September 29th. So your action item, if you're on this webinar and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I'm the primary and I'm not comfortable with this, I don't feel like I should be the person entering this information, you absolutely can make a change. We ask that you make that change before Friday, September 19th. So if you can either email myself, Lori, any member of the staff, or reach out to IACBE at iacbe.org. We will get that change made for you and make sure that the user that you're wanting to be the users get their access on September 22nd. And one other thing to note, we will have instructional videos for all of these things loaded into Jetpack. It's another cool feature. So let's say you're, entering your self-study at 1 o'clock in the morning and none of us are available for a phone call. We will have little snippets for how-tos on there. So hopefully you can get the help that you need when you need it. Lori?
Thank you, Andrea.
Yeah.
I do apologize. For some reason, there's a lag when I click on the moving forward. So, but it seems like it's working well. So, some of you who are listening today or will be listening on the recorded webinar are actually starting your self-study now. Your self-study year. So many of you will be using 25, 26, and you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, do I need to learn this today? So the answer is no. We will encourage you to use the Jetpack system if you are interested. I already have a few folks who have stepped up and want to help us pilot test it, but actually use it because they are not fans of Dropbox. They're not fans of all of the different places they have to pull everything together. So the way this works is we haven't shared, as Andrea said, we are rolling out sections for you. So we'll be doing training on each of those sections. And what that does is allow you to build your foundational knowledge of the software system. And as you learn each section, you will see that it helps you intuitively be able to learn the next section even more quickly. So again, back to those of you who are in your self-study year or will begin it this fall. Thing to remember is that normally in the self-study process, you already have an outcomes assessment plan in place and you are gathering data, right? This beginning during your self-study year. And you may be also looking at the questions in the self-study document, inviting your faculty in to assist with that, getting some shared docs like a Google Doc to start getting your responses together. And then at some point, you copy and paste all of those into the self-study template. But instead of doing that, you can copy and paste them into Jetpack. And the other thing is, remember, anything that goes into Jetpack is there historically. So that document will be there when you have to do your interim quality assurance report. You'll be able to glance back at your self-study. So again, the more you use it, the more helpful it is. However, as Andrea said, we recognize that many of you have taken on a lot of responsibilities. Many of our schools have too few people who've taken on more jobs than they ever thought they would. So we recognize you might be a bit on an overload. So you are welcome we'll grandfather this in. You're welcome to use the current system. So what I highly recommend is that you reach out to your liaison. If you're unsure who that is, just call me or email me and we will work this out. So you don't have to decide today. because again, you're in the process of gathering data and gathering responses. So really, you will not actually begin inputting things into Jetpack probably until early 2026. So for those of you who will be looking at 2026 and beyond as your self-study year, you will be using Jetpack. You will have had plenty of time to sit through our trainings. And as Andrea said, we'll have multiple short videos out there that will be of help. Webinars like this one or webinars on the self-study will also be recorded and on our website. So I realize some of you may have questions, and I did want to mention in a couple of minutes, we're going to open it up to questions, and I've seen that there are a few coming in on the chat, so that's great. Also, we probably have some, I know by looking at the screen, we have some site visitors and commissioners with us. So you all are probably wondering how this affects you. So although you're a small group today, I did want to give you a nod and a shout out. So site visitors, the Jetpack training will be integrated into your regular site visit training. We will also have some additional Jetpack trainings for you. So there will be more times to choose from. And I think that's the really important thing because many of you prefer live so that you can ask questions, but we will also have recordings and videos, as we said, for those of you who don't have time to join a live session, or for those of you who may be in different time zones where it's not as convenient as it is for others. So for site visitors, because schools are just starting their site visit, their self-study year, you will not be reviewing them until next spring. So that's the earliest that you would use Jetpack. For commissioners, you will receive some pretty intensive in-person training at our annual conference in April in 2026. And the first item that you will begin looking at are candidacy reviews. So Andrea mentioned that those educational members who've decided to move through candidacy will begin using Jetpack. Again, they don't enter into the beginning of candidacy and then upload their documents 2 days later. So there's a time lag, which is why you will have time before you will need to review them. Okay, so we keep putting this on all the slides, but we just want to reassure everybody that we are all about supporting you and being available for training, live training. In fact, at the Middle States Conference, if you're attending that one, I will be doing a Jetpack session there. And if any of you want to organize something like that for a group, happy to do that. Okay. So with that,